Well, everyone. Welcome. So we meet again. Um, I am posting this quick video, just a few announcements about the release of essay number 1 and kind of what you can expect moving forward. Your feedback is in a couple of different places for essay number 1. You can access your Google Doc and you might find a couple comments there. I didn't put very many on the Google Doc. That's mainly where I put my rough draft feedback. But you should look at the Google Doc. The second place is in Canvas. When you click on grades and you see essay number 1, the Google Doc link, click on that and you'll see a rubric, and the rubric will tell you kind of where you landed as far as those categories that we were working on for this essay. So exceed standards, meet standards, needs improvement, or incomplete. That's kind of where what the range is for this essay. So you'll be able to see kind of where you landed. That might be really helpful for you if you are planning on revising, which I'll talk about. So that's the second place to get feedback. The third place is in the comments box in Canvas on the grades. So when you click on grades, you'll see the rubric first, and then below it, you'll see my comments. And the comments, that's where you'll find what your score is. High pass, pass, not yet passing, or incomplete. Okay, so what do I do with all that information? Well, you first need to decide if you want to revise. So let me walk you through a little bit about what that looks like. Once you've read all the feedback, you've seen the rubric, you've looked at the docs, a couple of things. And this page is in your module. It's tagged for you to read through today. Revision's optional. It's not required. You don't have to revise. You can if you want to. I would encourage you to revise, of course, because I think that's where the learning happens, but really that decision is up to you. You must revise if you received an incomplete. So an incomplete does not mean a D or an F. An incomplete doesn't really even mean a not yet passing. An incomplete means that there was a basic requirement in the essay that was missed. So let's say the primary reason why I give an incomplete is because people didn't have the right number of sources. The assignment required at least 3 sources, and 2 of those sources had to come from course material. So if you didn't have enough sources, or if you had no sources, then your essay is incomplete. That just means that you didn't meet one of the requirements. You have to make that a complete essay. And then once it's complete, then I will read it again, and then you'll be assessed high pass, pass, not yet passing. So you have to have all of your essays deemed complete in order to pass English 221. So if you received an incomplete, you must revise. But for everybody else, revision is optional. Why might you want to revise? Well, if you are really trying to get an A in the class, and again, the end of the semester, part of what you're going to do is look back over your essays. If you received a high pass on this essay, you don't need to revise. But let's say that you received a not yet passing and you really want to try to get an A in this class. You want to be able to propose an A. Then you need to be able to justify that grade, which means you probably need to revise. You know, the whole idea of you and kind of evaluating your own performance in the class is really kind of thinking about, well, what have I done in the class? What have I completed? What have I, learned? How have I grown as a writer? And what have I done to continue that improvement? And part of that is that revising process. So if you received a high pass, you don't necessarily have to revise. But you can. I've had students revise before. There's nothing above a high pass, so don't feel like there's something else that you're going to get. But if you received a not yet passing and you're really trying to get, an A or a B at the end of the semester, then you might need to revise also so that you can show that you are working towards that goal of yours. A couple things. Your feedback cannot go lower. If you revise and you got a not yet passing and you just absolutely tank the revision, which doesn't happen, but if it did, you're not suddenly going to have an incomplete essay or it can't get worse. Same thing, if your essay is passing but you revise and the revision is actually not as strong, you don't end up with a lower evaluation. You can only revise once. That's it. one time only, which is why I have a structure in place. Now, you all are lucky because, well, you have an extra week with your revision because of spring break. I know, that's nice. So normally it's 2 weeks, but because spring break falls right kind of in the middle of that second week, you have extra time. So here's what happens, the revision. You read through your essay and you think, great, I want to revise. Okay, so take a look at your essay and think about what you think you might need to revise. What questions do you have? Don't revise, don't make any changes yet, but just look at your essay and make some notes to yourself. What do you think needs to shift? Where are you confused? Maybe you're looking at the feedback and say, I thought that this was the best essay ever. I don't understand why it is only getting a pass. Okay, great. Generate some questions and we'll talk about that. You make a plan, generate some questions about revision, and then sign up for a conference with me. You must conference with me before you revise. The conference is required. You cannot submit a revision without having conferenced with me first. The conference is the same thing as all the essay conferences, same process. My time's available. You can click on schedule a conference and you can see my calendar. Snag a conference. It can be this week, it can be next week, but I am not holding conferences during spring break. So if you're planning on revising, you need to meet with me before spring break. So what will happen is we will meet in the conference and we'll pull up your essay, either you or me, and we'll talk through it. Because you can only revise once, I really want to make sure that you're successful in the revision. And usually there's some talking points that I have that I want to work out with you about your essay. So I want to make sure that we're on the same page. So that way when you go to revise, you're doing that in a way that's informed and that is going to give you the best outcome. That's my goal. Okay. So we're going to meet, we'll talk, and then revise. The revision is due to me no later than Monday, April 4th. And that is the Monday that we return from spring break. Now, if you want to, you can submit your revision before we leave. You can submit it during break if you want. I may or may not get to it. I might actually be taking a break. We'll see. But it's due no later than April 4th. What you'll do when you are ready to submit your revision is you're going to email me here in Canvas, and you're going to include the Google Doc link with making sure that I have access. And then a brief summary, a paragraph summary in the email explaining in a general sense what you changed and why. I don't want to see on the second paragraph in the fourth sentence I added a comma. No, that's not what I want. I want kind of, if we were having a conversation, what types of things did you change? What did you notice about your essay when you went back to look at it? What maybe bigger organizational pieces did you change? What did you delete? That kind of thing. More holistic in a very general sense, right? And why? Like, what did you learn about that process in the revision? Generally, if I'm not in the middle of another essay cycle, then I usually get the revisions back to you pretty quickly. So, okay, that's the first big thing. Essay number 1, revising. The second announcement that I need to mention with the essay number one release is that you will now see an extra credit assignment this week called the Hidden Miller. On your Google Doc is a Hidden Miller. It's a little fact, a fun, silly fact about me as a way to kind of incentivize you, I guess, to read the feedback. And so it's an extra credit assignment geared to get you to share something of yourself and then to talk a little bit about the revision. The third thing that will appear is your mid-semester check-in now that you have the feedback. So don't take that mid-semester check until you've gotten your essay feedback. What I'm asking you there is a few things, right? To kind of, for you to think about what your goal is at the end of the semester, right? We kind of come into English 221 in the spring and we're like, oh yeah, English 221, la 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 la. But by mid-semester, we're like, I just want to pass. So I also kind of want you just to check in with yourself, right? What is it that your goal is? What do you want in May? At the end of week 16, what writing goal do you want for yourself as a writer? What grade goal do you want? Because that's a reality. You will earn a grade in this class. So what's your goal? The other thing that I think is really important for you to think about is your word count. And there were a lot of short essays. I saw a lot of essays in this round that were very short. That might be another reason you think about revising. You can increase your word count because I'll take whichever essay is longer, your original or your revision. But remember, you have 5,000 words that you have to meet according to the UC CSU system between Essay 1, Essay 2, and Essay 3. Okay? So one of the things that you'll be asked to do in your check-in is to look at what was your word count for Essay 1. Great. Now deduct that from 5,000. That's your balance for Essays 2 and 3. So some of you may look at that and say, holy cow, I have 2,000 words for each of those essays. Maybe that's a reason for you to revise Essay 1, right? So lots of moving parts, but I want you to really be aware of how your choices now may impact you at the end of week 16. If you have questions, of course, let me know. Send me an email. I have office hours Thursday and Friday morning from 9 to 11, and then I have conferences periodically throughout the week this week. So don't hesitate to let me know. And again, when you are signing up for a conference, if you are signing up for a revision, the question where it asks you, what essay are we working on? Please write revision. So that way I know to try and have your essay pulled up for you. Okay? All right. Have a great rest of your day, folks, and hopefully we'll chat soon.